The Mayans called it Sama, which means morning or dawn. It's just that the sunrise in this place is absolutely spectacular.
Welcome to Tulum!
The name of Tulum is much more recent, and it's translated as wall or palisade, alluding to the wall that is preserved here. Tulum is the only walled city of the Mayan culture that is located in front of the Caribbean Sea, a true wonder of the pre-Hispanic world.
Out in front, the subtalar joint between the heel and the calcaneus.
Thanks to this, it was one of the most important commercial ports of its time, and its inhabitants were excellent navigators. Tulum is located at kilometer 230 of the federal highway Chetumal-Cancun, 80 miles south of Cancun, and is easily accessible through Federal Highway 370.
Bienvenido, Apocalipto!
In addition to being an important maritime center, Tulum was a Mayan community specialized in the study of the stars. Their fascination for them was of such magnitude that the city was dedicated to the planet Venus. As a matter of fact, their first building was the astronomical tower, and the city was built around it. Undoubtedly the most emblematic archaeological site on the Quintana Roo coast, due to its privileged location and the impressive conservation of its structures and wall paintings. Its wall delimits the main complex of its north, south, and west sides, with the eastern side facing the Caribbean Sea. It has 5 entrances and 2 watchtowers. La Casa del Noroeste is located at the northern end of what used to be Tulum's main street. It is the first building found when entering the complex through the northwest axis. It is a rectangular building with a portico with 2 columns that form 3 entrances. The Temple of the Frescoes was built in several stages. It is considered of high religious relevance for its decoration and paintings that cover the walls. These wall paintings portray a series of supernatural beings from the underworld, which constitute one of the most important testimonies of pre-Hispanic Mayan mural painting. This is the structure that preserves more decorative elements of the time. It consists of 2 levels. The lower level in turn consists of 2 temples, one inside the other, where the decoration is preserved. Continuing along the road, you can see the palaces known as the House of Columns and the House of Halach Winik. The House of Columns is the largest residential complex, also known as the Great Palace. It stands on a platform with a single body in the shape of an L. It is said that here the high officials of the time met. The castle is the tallest building on the site at almost 40 feet high. The main facade dominates the interior enclosure. Mayan discoveries were so important that they were visited by nobles by nearby and faraway communities, such as Zapotecs and Aztecs, to learn about astronomy. In the pyramid of the castle, the astronomical and maritime wisdom of the Mayans were fused. In addition to making the passage of the sun on its doors in the summer and winter solstices, it also served as a beacon and guide for sailors, who only by following in a straight line at the height of its central doors avoided running aground in the reef of the coast, the second largest reef. There is a platform for dances, and to the southwest is the temple of the Serie Inicial, where the earliest documented date in Tulum was found, 564 AD. The back rises vertically on the edge of the cliff, resulting in an easy visibility from the sea. It preserves a temple with 3 entrances decorated with serpentine columns and 2 animal-shaped masks in the corners in front of the castle. Called the Temple of the Descending God for the sculpture that crowns the entrance door. It is a room with access to the west. Inside there are 2 side benches and a ventilation window. It has a small base on which a building decorated with the image of the deity was built, the main iconographic element of the city. The Temple of the God of the Wind is located on a natural elevation of the cliff. It is the only building on a circular platform, named for its circular basement, related to Kukulkan, God of the Wind. It is a single room with an entrance from the north, and inside there are remains of an altar. The way in which the Mayan astronomers of Tulum studied the night sky was with obsidian mirrors that were covered with water and in which the stars were projected. According to the archaeological discoveries, these items were also used in other cultures, such as the Aztec. Some others were made of pyrite, such as those found in Teotihuacan and that can be admired in the National Museum of Anthropology and History in Mexico City. The Temple of the Descending God is one of the most beautiful in Tulum. Neither the walls nor the door adjust to the vertical, which is not a result of its age, as it was originally built that way. It was erected on another temple which was filled in to serve as a base. In the niche located in the upper part of the door, the sculpture of a character descending from the sky stands out. He has wings, a headdress on his head, and holds an object in his hands. The temple was adorned with decorations inside and out, with numerous representations of gods in murals, which unfortunately can no longer be admired. This divinity was venerated especially in Tulum and other inland places such as Coba. The real identity of this deity is not known. Some experts relate it to a swallow god worshipped in Cozumel, others with a bee god named Amusencab. Tulum is one of the few Mayan archaeological sites where some of the original colors of its frescoes are preserved. Here you can admire some hands printed, as well as the colors red and lapis lazuli, which in terms of use as a paint could be said to have been invented by the Mayans. We know that in ancient Egypt, this semi-precious stone was used for the first time to make jewelry and amulets, which is why it was a highly appreciated and valued mineral. A perfect example of this is found in the funerary mask of Pharaoh Tutankhamun, which is adorned with lapis lazuli and gold. The Mayans, however, began to use it in a very different way, since they used it to paint. They used the powder that was obtained from the mineral itself, also called azurite, which resulted in this sea blue pigment so highly valued by painters. It is known that even Leonardo da Vinci used azurite to paint his creations. The idea of a god coming down from the sky was very common among Mesoamerican people, so it is possible that the descending god of Tulum is not necessarily the sun, but perhaps the rain, the lightning bolt, or the bee. In the northeast axis, the Casa del Cenote highlights the importance that the Mayans gave to the aquatic cult linked to the cenotes. In this part of Mexico, there are hundreds of them, all of them natural wonders. I really hope you have the opportunity to visit Tulum and experience all of its beauty yourself.